Hello, hello. I just coughed as I started that, so you'll have to excuse me if you catch me coughing. My daughter and I have been a little bit sick the last few days, but getting better. What I wanted to talk to you about today is being more frugal with your energy, being more frugal with your focus. I kind of got that phrase from watching something, a video of Bruce Lipton a couple of days ago, and it was something I was talking to a client about last week, about just protecting your energy and what you're focusing on, what you're looking on, where you're putting your energy. And I watched this great video by Bruce Lipton, and he was talking about being frugal with it. And what I mean on this topic is we give away our energy so easily, we're just, especially in the day of so much media, whether it's TV or our phones or on our computers or on Facebook or wherever the hell we're hanging out, right? There's, I don't know how many different platforms you can be on, social media, but there's so many calls for your attention. Look here, look at me, see what's happening over here. You need this, you need that. You have this problem, let's fix it over here, here. It's everywhere. It's very easy to get drawn into it and to think it's useful as well. And I'm going through a period where I'm actually really actively withdrawing my energy from the only platform I've really spent time on is in a while is Facebook, and I'm actually really personally withdrawing my energy from it, also professionally, so I won't get into that, but I've actually at the moment kind of really, I'm not active on my Facebook pages at all, really just here on my website with my mailing list for a couple of reasons. But it's so easy if you're not aware and you're not diligent about it to get sucked everywhere. And sometimes we feel like, it's interesting. We're looking at other people's lives and we like that. But mostly, let's be honest, it makes us feel crap about ourselves most of the time. And a really great coach I follow, I saw where she talked about if she finds herself constantly looking at someone else's life and it makes her feel a little bit bad, but she's doing it repeatedly, it's actually a form of self-abuse. She's continually doing something that's hurting her. And we can sometimes think, wow, that's inspiring, but it's not. If it's, if you're looking at them going, wow, they have what I want and I don't have it and they're better than I am, and if that's what you're doing even part of the time, it's not helpful. And what Bruce Lipton was talking about was how we're more careful with money, no matter how much money you have, you don't walk down the street and just start throwing it at anybody. Here, you have some money, go into a shop and go, well, let me just buy everything. We think about what we do with our money. Not to say we have to be stingy, but we think about what we do. We're maybe more focused and more mindful of what we do. We don't just go chucking it away down the street. But we do this with our energy and with our focus. I mean, you think of yourself on Facebook and you've looked at something and you've wandered onto something else, and then you're on a website, and before you know it, you're reading about something you never planned to, and an hour has passed, and lo and behold, you don't have time to do the things that are important to you. That's what it comes down to. You're not, you might complain you don't have the time for exercise, you don't have time to spend with your family, you don't have time to put into your blog or the work that matters to you. But what's happening is all your energy is just being sucked. You're giving it away. We want to imagine it's completely unconscious, but, unless it's kind of Clockwork Orange style and you're sat there tied to a chair with your eyes clamped open being forced to watch a screen, we choose this. And so we have to make the choice to take our energy back. And I really like that idea of thinking about how you spend your energy, how you spend your focus. If you catch yourself wandering off into a thought or onto a Facebook page of someone you don't even know, hang on, is this really where I want to be spending my energy? Draw it back to you and then be conscious about where you put it. And I think that's something really, really helpful in all, no matter what you're doing in life, is to draw your energy back to you. But it's also relevant in grief. I didn't start this to mean to actually talk about grief in this particular video, but because we can get drawn in not just to what seems interesting and nice, but to pain and misery. We can really get sucked into it and really get hooked on it. Many people do, and you see this a lot in grief. Typically, people who follow me are not people who find themselves very comfortable in a grief community or in a grief forum. And if you go in there, which I don't recommend, really don't recommend, grief forums, it's very easy for you to get sucked into everybody else's stories and then to get sucked into that version of story, which you don't need to. And another thing is I'm always talking about and need to continue doing so, vast majority of the grief world, and I am talking the professionals, not just all the people who've been through grief or are in grief rather, but all the professionals are going to keep telling you in some form or other the same incorrect message that you cannot heal completely, that all you can do is find ways, even gracious, wonderful ways, to carry your grief for the rest of your life. And it's, for me personally, and I know, more than most people I know with a great certainty, our ability to heal because I've done it. And yet still I find I've had to very consciously over the years withdraw my energy from all of those grief and death spaces because I find it so distracting, and it distracts me from doing my own work, and I find myself very disillusioned in that space, even though I know to my core, I know in my cells that what is being said is not true. But I still find it very disillusioning and very disheartening to hear it consistently going on out there. So I withdraw my energy and I no longer interact in those spaces. I no longer read those things. I don't read books on grief. I was asked recently during a podcast interview who I could recommend, and I said I don't read any books on grief. I learn from grief through death, through my clients. My clients come to me, they bring grief, and together we travel through that and out the other side. And each client, I learn so much more. That's where my learning comes from. I'm not interested in more opinions of people who haven't healed, which is largely what's out there, who haven't and won't, and will fight not to. So yeah, in all the areas of your life, no matter what it is, doesn't have to be around grief. Think about where your energy is going when you sit down and put on a TV show you want to watch at night, and 2 hours later you're watching God knows what and channel surfing. You wouldn't spend your money the same. Well, most of us would not spend our money the same. We're not actively want to spend our money that way. So, whatever it is you want to achieve, whether that's healing for grief or whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, it's not going to be found at the end of just throwing out your energy. Just like wealth is not going to be found at the end of throwing your money all over the street and into every shop you pass. So, with this cold, you can hear I'm a little bit breathless in the excitement of this topic. Yeah, so it's just been a really interesting thing for me exploring what it is that draws me into different articles and into social media and stuff like that. And realizing, like, for myself, it's more often a place to hide from the things I don't want to be doing and the things that frighten me, rather than actually being a place of inspiration. And I think that's the case for most people if you find yourself there too much. So just get a little aware of where are you using your energy. Do you need to draw back your energy? Are you in spaces where you're just comparing yourself unfavorably to other people? Are you in spaces where you're reading article after article and actually not applying anything of what you're learning, or listening podcast after podcast or watching video after video and not actually applying anything you're learning, in which case it just becomes entertainment? Right, so I think it's about being really honest with yourself too, about where your energy is going and why. Why are you putting it there? And why is so much energy going to that? Where do you consciously really want to put it? And how can you start to bring some of that back to yourself and put it where you want it to go? All right, so I hope you found that helpful. Lots and lots of love. Talk to you soon.